Good morning. Whoops. Rebecca Vigus, the writer whisperer here. Obviously, I don't have my camera where I should. Um, it's sunny and extremely chilly this morning in South Central Kentucky. I've gone book diving in my vast array of books to see if I could find some of the other writing resources that I have. Robert J. Ray, the weekend novelist, write a novel in 52 weekends. It's full of ideas. Part one is giving you tips on writing, getting started. Uh, like many first novelists, I had written a book about something I knew, and he knew his subject. He took writing courses, attended writing conferences, studied fiction, taking novels apart to see how they were built. He studied film, probing the secrets of the scene and the structure and the pacing. As my skill level got deeper, I wrote better books. 6 of my novels have been sold in the last 6 years. And through writing, I made friends with other writers. That's important. You have to know other writers. Um, your first novel will grow like a lotus out of something you know and love, a person, a place, an event, a time in your life, an activity, a book you'd like to emulate. Let me say something to you. My first book was none of those. So, yes, it's good to write about something you know, but stretch yourself a little bit. It doesn't have to be. So, um, how to use this book, how to structure your writing weekends, um, because you do have to structure it if you're only writing on the weekends. Your workspace and your writing time, your writing tools, books on your bookshelf. Um, a model he uses is Ann Tyler's 1985 model, The Accidental Tourist. Hmm. How to think like a writer. Your big gift as a writer is creativity, images bubbling from your subconscious to make the addings you store in your notebook. Your big weapon is tenacity and the will to keep going. And then there's a chapter on warming up. Um, Mind mapping is when you doodle on paper as you map the workings of your mind. There are two kinds of ways to do this. Um, Tony Buzin's use both sides of your brain. A cluster diagram used by Gabriel Rico in Writing the Natural Way. Then there's writing practice. A writer friend starts every day for 10 minutes using the start line, I remember. Writing with friends, writing together with other writers in class, cafes, the park, someone's home is wonderful because you pick up your energy from the group. Writing regularly, same time, same place, helps you maintain discipline. Um, Good places to meet like minded writers might be creative writing classes, writers' conferences, the library, bookstores. And then read out loud when you're stuck. There's writing tips that he gives you. We skipped a page here. I'm just giving you the headlines. Prepare. Loading your conscience. your unconscious. As you prepare the ground for your novel, you load your unconscious. You load in details about your characters so that your unconscious mind, your engine of creativity, can play with them. You load your unconscious so that it can dance its way to the end of your story. Knowing the end, you'll press onward instead of spinning your wheels, retooling chapter one. Escape the internal editors. Don't edit, just write. And he gives you ways to do that. Writing to produce word pictures. The key to making word pictures is detail, concrete, physical detail, delivered in concrete, physically descriptive language. And he gives the passage from Glenn Savan's White Palace, the opening passage. So then you get to part one. And what you should do in part one, this is weekends 1 through 4, and you're strictly working on characters. Okay. Weekends 1 through 4. You are working on characters. Let me tell you, I spent a lot of time in this weekend 1 through 4. In weekends 5 through 10, you're scene building. And that's, what do your settings look like? You can't just do it by rotes. He talks about action and points of view and building chapters in all of this. Look how he's mapped what he's doing to get where he wants to go. That was part 3. This is part 4. Weekends 11 through 14, you're doing the plot. This is all the stuff that happens. Aristotle's incline, and he shows you how to use it and fill it in. It makes sense to do this, guys. It really does. And then in part 5, you have weekends 15 to 20, where you're writing your key scenes. Okay, these are the opening scenes. These are the ending scenes. These are all the different scenes in between. And it is a process. In part 5, weekends 21 to 31, you're writing your discovery draft. This is where you actually put the draft together. Week 21. Really? And you're taking 10 weeks to do it. Then comes to part 6, 7. 6, 7. Weekends 32 to 45, writing the meditation draft. Okay, that's a little different. Your discovery draft is where you're just getting stuff down. Now you got to go back and look at it. What do you need to fill in? In part 8, weekends 46 to 52, now you're putting it all together and writing the final draft. And then there's an appendix on how to find a publisher. There's a glossary of terms. There's a bibliography that is one. Pages don't want to turn from me this morning. About a page and a half bibliography. Did a lot of work with Ernest Hemingway, Max Perkins, editor of Genius, Scott Berg and Max Scott Berg wrote Max Perkins, editor of Genius. Janet Burroway, writing fiction. Malcolm Cowley, Writers at Work. Annie Dillard, The Writing Life. Daphne du Maurier, the book Rebecca. F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, Tender as the Night. E.M. Forster, Aspects of a Novel. John Gardner, The Art of Fiction, Notes of Craft for Young Writers. Natalie Goldberg, Long Quiet Hemingway, Writing Down the Bones, Freeing the Writer Within. Oakley Hall, The Art and Craft of Novel Writing. Ernest Hemingway, The Complete Short Stories of Hemingway. Ernest Hemingway, A Farewell to Arms. Ernest Hemingway, The Sun Also Rises. I mean, there's a bunch of resources here. Okay, next up. Bulletproof book proposals. Every book you write should have some kind of proposal. This tells you what to put in it, how to write it. It's by Pam Brodowski and Eric Newhouse, and it is put out by Writer's Digest Books. 12 real-life proposals that were accepted, agent, editor, author viewpoints on each profile, and 10 simple steps. A simple 10-step plan for writing your proposal. So it might be something you definitely want to look for, especially if you're looking for agents, publicists, and the big five. But there are other presses that want this stuff. They want to know what it is you're proposing to write. They want some sample chapters. They want a summary. Yeah, it's all in there. Then, the well-fed writer, okay? Y'all want to be well-fed. You want to have money coming in, and you don't want to spend hours and hours and hours writing a novel to have it not sell or not be a bestseller, and then you give up. Please don't do that. The Chicken Soup for the Soul books. You've probably already read one or two of them. They were a big hit, only not quite. 47 rejection letters before someone decided to take it on. And then it just exploded. You have chicken soup for everybody. So yeah, keep writing. You never know when that positive I'll take you letter is going to arrive, or email. So I have the well-fed writer, because at one time I thought maybe freelance was where I wanted to go. This is by Peter Bowerman. I am not a freelance writer. I was looking to see who published this one. There's a lot in here on he's got a lot of promotional stuff, little 1 or 2 sentences about his writing and who to get it. The second printing was in 2001, so I probably have that. The third printing was in 2001. The original was in 2000. They give quantity discounts. So if you're going to teach this, it's there. It says, please contact the publisher, and it gives snail mail address in Atlanta, Georgia. But this is his step-by-step guide to becoming a freelance writer. Okay. One of the first things I did as a writing coach was write a 4 module program on how to become a freelance writer. I did not put it into a 75-page book with an index. I don't know if there's a bibliography. Nope. Just an index. And then to order, it's Bookmasters Inc. is the publisher. No, that's where you can get them, is Bookmasters Inc. in Ashland, Ohio. The publisher is out of Georgia. Okay. With no publishing name or logo. So, there have been lots of people who have written about freelancing. In my course, there's a guide. There's a study guide. There are 4 modules that you can download and listen to at any time because you always have access to them. It's a $497 course. I put a lot of time and hours into researching and finding the shortest, fastest ways to become a freelance writer if that is what you are looking for. A lot of corporations are looking for freelance writers to write their technical books on their wonderful creations. Those little handbooks that come with every appliance you get or every telephone you get, with all the directions and how to use it. Yeah, those. And they pay well. It's a lucrative business. But you can also write for magazines. When I was freelance writing, back in the day, which is a good, I don't know, 40 years ago, 30 years ago. It's been a while. I wrote for free. I wrote for the local newspapers in my town. I wrote for free. I gave them all the information. They printed it. They gave me a byline. That's just the way it turned out. But that's how I started my portfolio. I had taken basic journalism 101, and feature writing in college as an undergrad. I also took broadcast continuity writing, which is writing for news organizations. I discovered that that is not the kind of writing I wanted to do. But I also discovered if you want to get into that, start writing news articles for your local paper. They probably won't pay you, but that's okay. If they cover the who, what, when, where, and why, sometimes how, but mostly those 5, you're all set. You don't need more than 600 or 700 words. Pretty amazing. pretty amazing. So, there is that course on my website. It's on the first page. If you scroll down far enough, you can also sign up for a newsletter. I haven't yet started it, but I'm thinking I'm going to have to, as I have too many people asking me too many questions, and I'm giving out way too much information for free. Now, your writing prompt is to take the weekend and do something different with friends, family, both, your significant other. If you live in the northern part of the country, take a color tour. If you live close enough to the northern part of the country, take a color tour. Have a bonfire with friends. Explore something you've always wanted to explore in your state, in your city, in your county. I mean, just do something. Get outdoors. If your leaves are falling to the ground and need to be raked up, rake up the leaves and then jump in them. Be a kid for a day. It doesn't matter. Do something out of the norm. Don't just sit in your house. Don't pay bills. Don't just do housework. Go get in your car and drive. Go to some restaurant you've heard about. On Sunday evening, on Sunday evening, before you go to bed, take out your paper and write about one memorable thing from the weekend. Describe the tastes, the sights, the sounds, any texture there was to your weekend. Add it. You don't ever have to publish it. You don't ever have to share it, but you might want to. And that's okay. The idea is to go out and do something different and absorb the creativity that comes with it. The most beautiful color weekend I ever had was with my dad. And we had left on Friday afternoon because I had half days as a senior in high school. We left on Friday afternoon in October. We stayed in Niagara Falls that night. And then we drove on to Keene, New Hampshire the next day. My grandmother was living in Keene, New Hampshire. She did not know it, but we were bringing her a car. Hers had given up the ghost after I don't know how many years, and we were bringing her a car. An old Cutlass Supreme. With the old 8-track stereo. You know, those big, clunky, before cassettes things? Yeah. It was 1971. Her Olds was a 1970. It was silver. So we drove it out and we parked where she was living. She was taking care of an elderly lady. Not that grandma wasn't getting up there at the time, but she was able to take care of this woman. And she had taken the woman's car in to pick up some groceries. And they had a basement apartment. And Dad said, go to the door and open it and just step into the hallway. Graham could not get down the stairs fast enough. And she couldn't figure out why I was there. And wait a minute, there was a car outside with Michigan license plates. Dad had the title and everything, so it could be put in her name, and the plates changed on Monday morning. I believe we took her out to dinner that night. And I think we brought back takeout for the lady that she was caring for. Or at least we brought her back dessert. I can't remember which. Because she declined coming with us. And then we had to find a place to stay, and we had to go into Vermont to find a place to stay. And there was a little balcony, and we didn't see anything at night. But we got up the next morning, and the colors, we were on a river, and the colors were magnificent. And of course, my dad took all kinds of pictures because Dad took pictures everywhere. And Sunday, Graham drove us to the airport in her brand spanking new car. And we boarded a plane headed for LaGuardia in New York City, where we had about an hour layover. So we grabbed something to eat and hopped on a flight to Detroit, where they also fed us a dinner that wasn't too bad, all things considered. And then my mom and my brother and sisters met us in Detroit, and we drove home. And the following spring, during spring break, we went to Niagara Falls as a family. We went to see Graham. We went south through Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, into New Jersey to see a friend of mine. And then we circled back home, all for the sake of exploring, because that's what we did. We traveled. And we get 2 double beds and a rollaway. And the 3 of us girls would curl up in one bed. And my brother would be in the rollaway. And mom and dad in the other bed. I remember a time when they got 2 bedrooms. My brother had a double bed in their room, and one of us slept in a double bed, and the other 2 shared. And it rotated. Everybody got a chance to sleep alone in the double bed. It did rotate. But those were the exciting times. Those were the times I remember. Do something exciting this weekend. Write briefly about it on Sunday night. Maybe it'll be the setting or a portion of your memoir. Maybe it'll be part of a novel. Maybe it will never see publication. It's all good because you're writing. Have a great weekend. I will be back on Monday at 10.